I watched Venom The Last Dance last night, and I've seen so many people shit on this film that I went in with low expectations. I finished watching the movie. It might be the best Venom movie out of all three. This movie is so underrated, it should be criminal. Cause like I understand it. The Venom movies they're very hit or miss. And the same thing for this movie as well. It was very hit or miss. A bunch of the scenes were kind of cringy, some of the CGI was kind of corny, right? But you gotta go into these movies with the mindset this is a kids movie. The comedy is gonna be for kids. The scenes are gonna be for like mainly tailored towards kids. So that's the mindset you have to go into. And when you go into that, you forgive a lot of the stuff, right? For example, a lot of the CGI, there's a scene of Venom dancing. That shit was kind of corny. But once you realize this is a kids movie, you can give it a pass. It makes sense that it's in there. And other stuff, the family stuff about that random family, I did personally didn't like it. But it's a kids family movie that a kid would go to watch with their family. So it makes sense on why it's there. But if we get past all that, get past all the kid stuff and focus on the actual story and the actual scenes, some of these scenes were so good. Now, I'm not gonna know the characters' names and stuff like that, but like, just in general, the movie, I personally enjoyed it. I feel like it was a fun movie. It was a good ending to the. Let's talk about it. So one of the scenes that stood out to me in particular was at the very end. Obviously spoilers if you haven't seen it, but at the very end, so there's this character, right? She's a woman. She had a sister when she was younger, and the two brothers were running in some beach somewhere, and there was a thunderstorm, lightning was coming down, and they were running. As they were running, the girl held hands with her brother. Lightning struck her, ran through her arm into the brother, and killed the brother, but she survived because she was holding on to her brother, right? It should have been her that died, but since she held hands with her brother as they were running at the very last moment, she survived and he died. Fast forward to the end of the movie, they had a bunch of symbiotes in this lab. She's a lab technician, she's a scientist, I'm guessing, and there was a bunch of symbiotes, right? And the symbiotes were getting released because they had to fight against this monster, blah blah blah. But at the end, they were running from a big explosion in the background, and as they were running, the explosion was spewing out acid, so they had to and the acid was getting close. They were about to die, and she had a vial of a symbiote in her hand. She broke the vial. The symbiote bonded with her so she could go save, because she was running with some other lady scientist. So she broke the vial, symbiote bonded so she could go save her, and then it turns out that symbiote was an electric speedster. So it ties it into her backstory, where the thing that killed her brother ultimately was the thing that's let her save this other scientist. Is that not peak writing? Am I tweaking, or is that not peak writing? And since the symbiote obviously took over and bonded, it healed her arm as well. So the arm that she used to grab her brother got paralyzed, obviously. So as the electric symbiote, the symbiote had electric powers, bonded with her, it healed her arm. So the thing that took away her brother and that caused her all that pain was a thing that, this is peak writing. Is it just me? Am I just a simple guy that just likes, I don't know, I just like how they tied it in together. So now she has this speedster lightning symbiote. I'm not sure where that's gonna go. I think that's the end of the Sony verse for now. But yeah, just that scene in particular stuck with me. I feel like it was cool how they tied it into her backstory. One of the end credit scenes, a cockroach went into a Venom vial. Not a Venom, but a symbiote vial, and I think another one escaped. I was assuming that it was the same electric one that she had, because whenever the cockroach went into the vial, there was sparks of electricity. So I assumed it was her symbiote, but that wouldn't really make sense. The symbiote would exist in the cockroach and in her as well. I'm not too sure. But yeah, just the movie and like the fight scenes in that movie at the end was a big fight scene against this monster that eats symbiotes against a bunch of symbiotes, and that shit went hard, bro. There was a scene where this woman, I'm gonna call her Christmas because that's her nickname, she got a symbiote, a green one, and bro, the CGI, the fight scenes, the choreography, it was so good. There was also a symbiote that it was two symbiotes basically combined into one, and it was just cool how they like made them into like I don't know why, but they specialized in like capturing and holding the monster that was after them. So they created this net of like symbiote matter to kind of hold it together, and it's hard to explain. You'll have to go see the movie, but the choreography was fire. The fighting scenes were fire. I enjoyed the movie. It was a fun one. I'll have to go back and watch the first movie. I'm just talking, but this is, you gotta compare this to the first movie. The second movie was kind of, I still enjoyed it personally, but it wasn't the best, obviously. So this compared to the first movie, obviously I don't remember the first movie that well, but I think this was the best one out of all three, to be honest. The fights were amazing, bro. You know, obviously some of the parts were like, okay, you're dragging this on, let's move on to some real action. But when it got to the action, it made up for the entire movie for me personally, because I just have a preference for really good choreo and fight scenes, and that's why my favorite anime is Naruto, because it has the best choreo and fight scenes, and you can fight me on that. But I think it made up for the movie, and I think what they're gonna do at the end, because we gotta remember there is a symbiote, a part of the symbiote in the 616 universe, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's still a piece of Venom in that universe, because we saw it at the end of at the end of the second, whichever one it was. So what I think they're setting up here is this last movie is setting up the transfer from the Sony universe to the MCU universe. So I feel like since Venom is in that universe, they're gonna find a way to transport Eddie Brock into the 616 universe, and then he's gonna get bonded. Spoilers for Venom: The Last Dance. Venom dies in the 616 universe, but there's still a piece of him in the MCU. So I feel like what's gonna happen is they're gonna transfer Eddie Brock through some multiverse shit into the 616 universe, bond with Venom again. Venom is back. I feel like that's where they're going with it. I feel like that's what's gonna make the most logical sense for it to go that way. And concerning the Null, I have to mention Null. Null, I think he's being set up that he's like, because they say he exists outside the universe, meaning he's probably exists outside all universes, so 616 and the Sonyverse, which would mean that they could easily transfer him over to be a threat in the MCU. So I feel like that's why they said that as how they set him up as, because it wouldn't make sense to introduce this big ass character that is so powerful, older than the universe, etc., just for him to be last shown in this movie. So I feel like he's gonna carry over to the MCU first, so we're definitely gonna see him there again. And is there anything else worth mentioning about this movie? It was a great movie. I loved the movie. It was cool. So yeah, as I said, you just gotta go into this movie thinking this is a kids movie, primarily a kids movie. So go into it with, just dial it in. Don't be looking out for, that doesn't make perfect logical sense. This isn't that. Just go into it, just relax and enjoy the movie. and you'll enjoy the movie. It was a cool movie with great fight scenes, great choreography. Even some of the acting and dialogue was really deep in some parts, just for it to be really childish and just cringe in other parts. But like, again, it's mainly a kids movie. They did cook kinda a bit, actually a lot, in, you know, the acting. I forget what the character is called, but yeah, they had some great acting scenes too. It was a cool movie and I enjoyed it. But I just wanted to come in here and say that everyone that's shitting on this new Venom movie is just taking it too far. This was a cool movie. I enjoyed it.